Your Honor. So last we were in here, we had watched at least part one of that second interview, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, and that interview was on December 7th of 2020?
That's correct.
Okay, having done the first interview on November 18th of 2020.
That's correct.
They work on that. Okay. So Kianna showed up. Okay. Anybody come over? Did you go anywhere? How was his behavior Sunday? He was okay?
Yeah.
Okay. There's no issue Sunday, was there? Nothing happened, no accidents happened, or said nothing you point out?
Just Saturday when his arm got swollen. That was it.
Okay. And I was just out of the blue, nothing happened that you know what causes that swelling?
No, because we had just been to the doctor about 2 weeks before that because he had a bag of chips and his whole face blew up. So she said, when I was there, she told me that he could possibly have another allergic reaction later on. So I assumed that that was what she was saying is.
Okay. So we're clear on, obviously Tuesday morning, clear on Monday night, clear on Monday, clear on Sunday. Saturday, the only place you went was Granddad's. He was in your supervision the whole time. Okay. Real quick, Friday, what was Friday?
Friday I went to work, he was at daycare.
He was at daycare Friday. Okay. Where does he go?
He goes to daycare at a lady named Faye Park.
Faye Park? She got you for PD? Is that a personal person? It's not like daycare?
No, she has a at-home daycare.
At home daycare? Okay. Where is that at?
I don't think we're still
Yeah.
about
It's from Zorn.
right on the same road as Lawrence Middle School.
Do you have a phone number? So you have any kind of?
No, that address.
It is 478-213-9661.
What time is he there Friday?
He gets there at about 6:30 in the morning. Typically.
And what time was he picked up Friday?
I pick him up at 6.
6 p.m. Okay. And that's what happened Friday, there, 6:36. When you picked him up, was there any issues? Any complaints or anything going on then? He was fine all Friday night, he was fine all day Saturday, and all day Sunday? Okay. Is there anything that we haven't talked about that you think is important?
Just not really from what happened, but I've been asking just for so long for allergy tests for everything because he's had episodes of throwing up all the time from regular milk to whatever, and we even been referred to a pulmonologist. We never got tested. So I've always had concerns that something, it was deeper than just a breathing issue that they were trying to tell me, because every time we go in, most of the time he's not sick. They test him for everything and the breathing just happens. So
Well, I don't believe this is due to any kind of allergy. Okay. I thought it was a medical thing. Okay. What they have, the initial right name, okay, is he had a lacerated liver. Okay, he had blood clotting. He had multiple contusions of his body. He had lacerations to his pancreas where it attaches to his body. Okay, there was no signs of any breathing issue that would cause his death. Okay. So, there was something that happened to him. There was some type of injury to his abdomen that caused this to his liver and the contusions to his body. Some sort of impact.
there's nothing that literally, I mean, he's never had any issues with his stomach. Never been hit. Nothing.
They don't think this will be from a fall. Okay, so it's not from a fall, and this is multiple impacts that cause the injuries, to the internal injuries. Okay. It's like, getting hit with stomach real hard.
he don't even, he don't care that they care.
Well, here's the other part of it, is that, I understand this is a Georgia Bureau of Investigation that does these autopsies, okay? They're saying that whatever caused these injuries happened within 24 hours of his death.
Nothing.
Well, there's some things that could have happened, there's some things that had to happen, something had to happen. You don't get this without something happening. So,
The child isn't even.
how does Mr. Benton, does he ever have
No. God,
about yourself? How do you know?
no. I don't even hit my child. That's literally part of everyone's issue is that
Who's
I'm
this?
disciplined. His fault. I'm too nice. He's 2. So there's no reason to discipline a 2-year-old when he's still learning.
Yeah. I mean, I understand. But something happened. And the only, right now, is you were around it, Mr. Benton was around it. And I mean, you go back far enough, Grandpa was around it. But you were supervised the whole time there, and that was well before 24 hours. Okay? Pretty much, he started getting sick, according to y'all, after lunch Monday. That's when his stomach started hurting, started throwing up. Okay? Who you been with during that time?
He's living with no one except for me. Thank you.
So the concern here, obvious concern, okay, is that something's happened that either yourself or Mr. Benton are concerned to tell us.
God, no.
Okay.
If there was something I would tell you, and he would tell you.
Okay. Well, I hope so.
Nothing happened.
Well, something. There's something. We don't.
There's nothing in my house that he could even run into. I mean, to the extent that he would hit. He didn't even, the child learns about everything. So if he would have hit something, he would have came running to me, he would have cried. He didn't even cry. So,
Do you think there's any chance Mr. Benton struck him?
no. The child, no. I think he's not going to do it. He's not.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you the only way to have a lacerated liver, multiple contusions of the bowel, a laceration to the pancreas, is from some sort of impact to that abdominal area. Okay.
No, in your right mind. And you're talking about within 24 hours. Absolutely not. I call
How often do you call?
30 million times a day, especially if someone has my child. And
You
no one
call Mr. Benton
Yes.
every 30 minutes on
I
that?
call him. Every chance I get, I'm calling. And it has nothing to do with anybody. It has just to do with me always wanting to be around Karter and wanting to talk to Karter. So,
Should it be that you talk to Mr. Benton every 30 minutes on Monday?
not every 30 minutes on Monday. I got classes, but
So I mean, it's important at this point that we know how often you talk to Mr. Benton on Monday. How often do you think you talk to him on Monday?
I call.
Well, let's go from that morning, because we know you come on Monday at lunch, around 11-ish, is that right? That's 11, 7:15-ish, back to 11-ish. That's 4 hours.
I am on Robin, so I didn't leave at 7:15. I probably left at 7:45 because I was.
No, we have a video you leave.
Okay.
Okay. So, what, between that 7:15-ish and 11:15-ish, 11, did you call him? How many times did you call Mr. Benton that morning?
I don't know. I always
Did you call all of them that day?
know. There's really no way. There's no way no one could have ever touched my child. And that is, no.
Wow. You changed phone service?
No.
Okay, So is it your phone line, your phone service?
Yes.
Would you be willing to use your phone bill and show me? Because I'll need to know how often you called him that day.
You would have no issue,
Was there any change when you called him that it just sounded different or?
No, like that's,
Because according to everything, really, it seems like something happened. I think it happened after lunch Monday, whatever it was. I think it happened after lunch Monday after you left. And then he went downhill from there.
what you're implying,
Now,
so what you're implying just is so bizarre, just because of who he is and who he has always been and who he's
Always been?
Yes, like, he would never, never. My child literally loves him. My child calls him dad. And he doesn't even do that. There's just no way. And if Karter didn't like somebody, or if Karter felt a certain way about somebody, he would definitely not be around them, and I wouldn't know, and I wouldn't even allow it. I don't let anybody watch him except for babysitter and me and dad. That's just what it is. And that's just because of his breathing issues. I don't trust people with him in that situation. So if I would never leave my child with him if I ever thought that he was even capable. The man is not even capable of hurting a fly. So
well, I mean, honestly, he seems like a pretty decent guy just from my personal opinion yourself. But these are the facts, okay? There is no me changing this.
the facts are, there was nothing wrong with my child. And if something was wrong with Karter, or if someone hit him, or whatever, he's a crybaby.
What was his vocabulary with you?
Who's Karter's?
Yes.
My stomach hurt.
So he could say that much for
He says he can say it good, but he's not even to the point where he's like saying full wrong sentences. He can mix words together, but if something is wrong with him, he's gonna find, or he's gonna come to me and point and show me what happened, or show me who did it.
I'm gonna stop it right there, Judge. I can get a timestamp, but I'll point out Alright, so we watched all those videos are very accurate, representations of the interviews that you did with her.
Yes, sir, it is.
And after each of these interviews, she was free to leave.
Yes, sir.
So I want to point out, so in your interview with her that we just saw, you're working, you say, 24 hours. Okay, so this was December 7th of 2020, right?
Yes, sir.
And when did you end up leaving the sheriff's office?
February 21.
Okay. You were aware that there was a big meeting between the chief medical examiner, the forensic pathologist that performed the autopsy, and other members of the sheriff's office, DA's office. Were you aware that any of that happened?
At a certain point, that was.
Okay, was it after the fact that it happened?
Yes.
Okay. But you weren't involved in that meeting?
No, sir.
So at that time, you didn't have any information, really, other than what you've been provided, at least initially?
That's correct.
And at the time that you left the sheriff's office, you didn't have the final autopsy report?
No, I did not.
And the questions there, so you're asking about Kianna, right?
Yes.
And that something happened, at least with the limited information that you had at that time, you're asking in the context of what was Kianna doing. Potentially this could have been, Monday afternoon after you left. What is the purpose of trying to bring Kianna up? What are you trying to accomplish?
Well, one of the things I'm trying to accomplish in this interview is to go to suspect list, a complete suspect list, and make sure anybody the child in contact with, or certainly 24 hours, but well beyond that, at least a page. That was one of my initial objectives.
Okay. And at that point in the interview, you got any information to indicate that any person had done anything? Nothing further this time around.
Mr. Curry, please review.
Thank you, Alex. Good morning. Is it still okay for me to call you Sergeant?
Sure.
Sergeant Thomas, it's always good to see you.
Sure, thank you.
Let me ask you several questions. Once again, you originally got the call, did you not, to go to the hospital, Peach County Hospital over in Byron, is that right?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
And by the time that you got over there, the child had already been pronounced deceased.
I believe that's correct.
Did Was Ms. Davis there?
She was.
Okay, did you interview her then, or talk to her then?
I had a brief contact with her before leaving the hospital.
And was the contact that you had with her that she needed to go back to the apartment so somebody could walk through the apartment?
During our conversation, I asked her if I could meet her apartment after meeting her.
And she did in fact comply with that?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Benton was with her also, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So it's, well, let me ask you this, when the child was pronounced deceased, did you go with the child to the morgue at the hospital in Warren Robins?
I went into, it wasn't a morgue, I went into the room where he was located.
Okay, but when the child was removed from, or taken from the Peach County Hospital to go to the morgue in Warren Robins, is that right?
I'm not sure where the child went after the hospital. I was told by the coroner he would be going for autopsy to the GBI's office.
All right. So I take it that you left, that you left from the Peach County Hospital and then went to the apartment there on Lakeview, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And Ms. Davis was there with Mr. Benton, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And also Officer Boytel was there from Warren Robins, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And at that time, you talked to Ms. Davis to see about getting consent to search the inside of the apartment, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Did you search it then, or did you wait for Officer Herrera to come, or Investigator Herrera to come from Warren Robins?
I waited for Ms.
All right. But in any event, you got Ms. Davis to sign a handwritten or makeshift, if you would, consent search, is that correct?
That's correct.
When the place was searched, was it just you and Investigator Herrera?
I don't recall who all was in the apartment. I believe it was one of the officers. Maybe somebody assisted me, I'm not quite sure.
Okay. Do you recall seeing Meredith Edwards from the Warren Robins Police Department over there?
No, sir.
Do you think it may have been Officer Boytel that went in to help search the place?
I'm not sure, sir.
Okay. Was the purpose of searching the apartment to clear it, or was it to gather evidence?
It was to document some.
Document scene. And at any point in time, did you yourself gather evidence, or did you just watch Investigator Herrera do that?
I just observed. I did not collect evidence.
And did you stay there through the entire time that Investigator Herrera was photographing and collecting evidence? Did you stay the entire time?
Yes, sir. I believe I did.
Okay. And I take it that Investigator Herrera gathered quite a bit of evidence. In other words, pillows, and do you recall anything that he may have taken?
I don't know all the specifics of this collection. I didn't observe each collection that he made.
Okay. And that was documented?
Yes, sir. They document each thing that they collect.
He would have done that just himself, or did you help him do that?
No, sir. He would have done that himself. I was not part of crime scene investigation.
In gathering that pillows, and do you know as well that he cut any of the carpet?
I do not know.
I mean, if he cut any of the carpet or taken samples from a carpet or bed mattress or anything of that nature, you would have seen that, would you not?
I was present, but I did not follow him around the entire time or help him collect him or anything of that nature.
In Investigator Herrera gathering this information, did he give it to you?
The evidence, the collection, no.
Right. So, to your knowledge, did he take it with him?
To my knowledge, yes, sir.
At this particular point in time, would you have been considered the chief law enforcement person investigating this case at that time?
At the time, I would have been assigned investigator.
Okay, and that would have been in conjunction with the Warren Robins Police Department too, is that right?
Yes, sir.
The items that were gathered, I take it as standard protocol for law enforcement to take it back to their office and put it in an evidence log, is that correct? Generally speaking.
Yes, sir.
Do you know if any of these items were ever turned over to you?
They were never turned over to me.
Okay, so I'm asking this question. Do you know if anything was turned over to the GBI?
I do not.
Okay, so, I mean, you didn't do that. No. If anything was turned over to the GBI, that was not something that you did.
That I was involved in those.
Do you know if anybody else from the Housing County Sheriff's Department did that?
I'm not sure.
Now, you testified that you left the employ of Sheriff Talton in February of 2021, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So at the time that you left the employ of the Sheriff's Department, to your knowledge, this case had not been taken to the grand jury in Housing County.
The time I left, sir, I was still waiting on, the sheriff's office still waiting on final autopsy results to the court.
Now, you testified that, who was it, as far as this information that you relayed to Ms. Davis in this interview of December the 7th of 2020 concerning the injuries to the child, who did you get that information from?
The injuries about the child.
Right.
I was informed by staff at the hospital of his condition coming in.
Okay. So, I mean, did you receive this information from Danny Galvin, who was the coroner at that time?
Danny Galvin was present when I was at the hospital, and I did receive information from him.
Okay, so you received from Danny Galvin.
I received information from different parties. So Danny Galvin provided information that he had, and then the staff at the hospital provided their information.
Was any of the information that you received in writing?
Not at that time.
Or at any time did you receive anything in writing?
I had statements later.
I'm not talking about statements from people that worked at the, did you receive the written statements from all of the employees at the pediatric place?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Besides that, well, did you ever talk to the medical examiner, Dr. Brown?
From GBI,
Right.
I believe I had a brief conversation with him on the phone.
And once again, all this information that you received was before you left the sheriff's office in February of 2021. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Who was it that you turned the file over to once you left?
My lieutenant.
Lieutenant Meadows.
Yes, sir.
And at that time, do you know as to whether or not any of the items that were collected from the apartment were ever sent to the crime lab, not necessarily by you, but by any law enforcement agency?
I don't know. At that time.
Now, we've watched these videos that you had with Miss Davis. Once again, one was on the day after, on the 18th of November, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And the next one was done 3 weeks or so later on the 7th of December, is that right?
Yes, sir.
In between the time of the first and the second one, Miss Davis had moved to the Atlanta area, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And once again, at no time did you ever advise her of Miranda rights?
No, sir.
That's right.
Yes, sir.
I recall in the first statement that she gave to you, November the 18th, 2020, that she was extremely emotional, was she not?
Yes, sir. She was.
And at one point in time, you told her, did you not, don't blame yourself for this?
I don't know that I can do the words. I have to look back. I recall saying, you couldn't have known while I was speaking with her what was going on.
But, once again, the jury can recollect for themselves what they heard you say.
Yes, sir.
So I take it at some point in time between the first interview and the second interview is when you gathered information from either the coroner or people at the hospital or something.
Between the first and second interview, at one point I was contacted by the coroner and the
All right. And I take it you personally met with him?
I spoke to him on the phone.
For how long period of time?
A few minutes.
A few minutes. And did he ever reduce to writing anything that he told you?
Not while I'm sure at some point he did, but I didn't have that at the time. I wrote down what he said as he said it.
Did you later learn to understand that what was the reason for the delay in the autopsy report? Do you know?
I believe what from the GBI.
Okay. Was there any concern about any toxicology reports or any other reports that GBI needed to do on the child's body?
Yes, all that was concerned, being waiting by the sheriff's office.
And, I mean, if you left in February of 2021, that was only like 2 or 3 months, is that correct, from the date of the death?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Would surprise you to know that the autopsy report was not done until the end of September of that year. I mean, you were already gone by then.
I was gone, yes, sir.
Did you ever have a chance to go over the autopsy report?
No, sir.
Were you ever asked by the district attorney or anyone else in law enforcement?
I recently went over pictures from the apartment, but I did not go over the actual autopsy report.
And the pictures that you described, those are the ones that basically we've seen. Well, you weren't in here, but the photographs that were taken by Investigator Herrera.
Yes, sir.
Now, the interview that you did with Ms. Davis on December the 7th, that was played yesterday, and part of today, that didn't include the entire conversation that you had. Is that correct? Or do you remember? In other words, do we see everything?
Yes, sir. As far as I'm aware, I don't recall any other interviews with her that's not recorded. That's what you're asking.
Well, I mean, what I'm saying is there was more to the interview than what the jury is saying.
I do know the interview at the end of this. In this interview, she left.
And once again, she was not placed under arrest.
No, sir. She's never in custody.
At any, did you seek warrants against her?
No, sir.
Did you seek warrants against Mr. Benson?
No, sir.
Would that have been your responsibility to seek warrants?
No, sir, not necessarily.
Whose job would it have been?
These type cases, these cases get forwarded to the district attorney's office.
So there were never any warrants that were taken against Ms. Davis?
I never took a warrant against Ms. Davis.
Then are you aware, based on what you know of the case, that there were never any warrants taken against Ms. Davis?
John, can we approach?
Yeah.
Sergeant, let me ask you a few more questions, if I may.
Yes, sir.
From the period of time that this event occurred until you left the employ of the sheriff, did you talk to Ms. Davis any other time besides in the office of the sheriff's department?
I made contact with her by phone.
By phone? Did she ever make contact with you by phone?
She returned the call.
And this, would this have been after the conversation that you had with her on December the 7th of 2020?
Yes.
In talking with her, did you advise her that you were leaving the sheriff's department and to be turned over to someone else?
I don't recall doing so.
Okay. Just like John. Judges all around. Thank you. Thank you.
Anything else, Mr. Grant?
Just briefly, Your Honor. So I think Mr. Drew asked that at some point in the first interview, you may have said something about doubling yourself or something to that effect. Do you recall that?
I recall hearing myself say that she couldn't have known in the first interview when it seemed to be a medical situation.
Okay. So you didn't have a whole lot of info at that time.
I'm still gathering information.
And there was some questions by defense counsel about whether or not any evidence was GBI, correct?
Right.
And there was one very large piece of evidence, for lack of a better way to say it, that was GBI, right?
Referring to the deceased.
Yes. Is there ever any plot?
Yes, yes.
Nothing further.
Anything else, Mr. Brewer?
Nothing else. Thank you, Your Honor.
You're free to go, Mr. Collins. Thank you. You may go stage you wish.
Thank you, ma'am.
Call your next witness, please.
Lieutenant Darren Nuss. Can you raise your right hand for me? You swear firm testimony about to give you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God.
I do.
Thank you, sir. Can you state your name for the record, please?
Lieutenant Darren Meadows,
And you're a lieutenant. Where are you a lieutenant?
Houston County Sheriff's Office.
How long have you been in the sheriff's office?
37 years.
It kind of dawned on me that we get ranks of people who come up here and don't really explain what they are. What's a lieutenant?
Well, in my office, I'm the assistant division commander. So that means I'm like the number, there's a captain, and then I'm the lieutenant. And then we both have similar duties in that we manage the investigators in our office and some other related duties.
And is that for the juvenile division?
Yes, that's for the juvenile division of the sheriff's office.
And what is the role of the juvenile division of the sheriff's office?
We have two main roles. One is to investigate child abuse-related incidents involving children under the age of 18, and also juvenile crime-related issues with children who go out and commit crimes.
Were you working in that capacity in November of 2020?
Yes.
And have you been working in that capacity since November of 2020?
Yes, sir, I am.
I assume you were working in that capacity before that, those days as well?
Yes.
Okay. And as lieutenant, did you become aware of an investigation into the death of Karter Ambrose around that time?
I did.
Okay. And who was the investigator who was on call?
Sergeant Keith Collins.
And he's the one who just testified, right?
Yes.
And so he would be the person leading up the investigation, right?
That's correct.
Okay. And would you have any involvement in his investigation?
Possibly, depends on the case. I have 7 investigators that work for me, so they're all working cases at any given time. So they usually keep me updated on the status of what's going on with their investigations.
Okay. And at some point while the Karter Ambrose murder was under investigation, did...
If you don't, please, let me just, that's for this jury to decide. I mean, I just object to it being characterized as being a murder.
Well, that's the objections under rule. That is the prosecution's characterization, and they can ask that. Obviously, that will be the question the jury has to decide. So go ahead.
Did Sergeant Collins leave at some point?
He is.
Okay. And then you became involved?
I did.
Okay. And how did that move out?
Well, it's just kind of the natural evolution of the case. By the time, I think he left 3 or 4 months after the death of the child, and he had done most of the investigation. Up to that point, he had completed everything that was available to be completed.
Okay.
We were waiting on the medical examiner's report, so I was just kind of monitoring the case at that point just to make sure there wasn't anything else that was needed or something else that the district attorney's office felt like we needed to do or review. So I was just trying to kind of monitor what was going on with it up until the time the case was complete.
Okay. And it took a while to get the autopsy report, the finalized version, correct?
It did.
And prior to receiving the finalized autopsy report, was there some kind of meeting with certain people involved with GBI in your office?
Yes, we had a Zoom meeting with myself, I believe it was Eric Edwards with the DA's office, and then the 2 of the medical examiners from the GI.
There's Daniel Brown, the medical examiner,
Correct.
and then Jonathan Isaac sat at the time of the chief medical examiner.
Yes, sir.
And you said members of the DA's office.
Yeah, that was on September 27th of 2021.
And from your recollection, what was the purpose of that meeting?
To understand exactly, to discuss what the final outcome was of the medical examiner's autopsy, and to kind of nail down like time frames, what exactly happened, what was the report going to be, when were we going to get the report. We had communicated with them over and over again about needing the report, and it was trying to get all the complete information for the case.
Right, and at that meeting, I think a time frame for when the injury could have happened was discussed as well, right?
Yes.
And after that meeting, at what point was the autopsy report received?
I received it on November 12th, 21.
And after that, I mean, up to this point, did you interview anybody involved in the case?
No, sir.
I mean, you had this meeting with people who were involved in the case, but the witnesses and stuff, I think you said Sergeant Collins had kind of completed all that.
It had all been completed months earlier. We were just waiting on the additional information to complete the case file and investigation.
Did you reach out to the defendant after that meeting?
Yes, after I received the final autopsy report from the GBI, I reached out to Kianna Davis, the defendant, and asked if she would like to come in to discuss that we had received the final report, and she'd like to come in to discuss the report.
Okay, you said you called her?
I did.
Okay, do you remember, did she agree to come down and talk with you?
She did.
Okay, do you remember when that conversation took place?
She came to my office on December 9th of 2021.
And when you said she came, do you know how she got there?
I do not know. She just showed up at my office.
Was she a suspect?
I think so, yes, sir.
Okay, she was a suspect.
Yeah, she was the one of the job with the job.
Okay. And in order to get her to come down or to drive to juvenile or however she got there and speak with you, did you offer her any hope, benefit, or promises?
No.
Did you threaten or coerce her in any way?
No, sir.
Was she in custody at the time?
She was not.
Did you arrest her at all that day?
I did not.
Did you read her Miranda?
I did not.
Or not?
Because she was not in custody. It was not an in-custody statement. She was free to go.
I'm sorry. And after you guys spoke, did she read?
She did.
Okay. And this interview, was it recorded?
It was.
Have you reviewed it?
I have.
Is it a fair and accurate representation of the interview?
It is.
Has it been changed or altered in any way?
It has not been unaware.
This is State's Exhibit 63, which I'll offer in evidence now.
It's admitted.
Over objection, Your Honor. Please.
Noted.
All right. Before I continue on, where is this?
This is at my office.
Okay.
The juvenile division of the sheriff's office.
This is your interview room?
It is.
And is that Miss Davis?
Yes.
How's the drive down?
Long. Yes, the traffic. It's so much traffic, and then they're working on the road still, of course, so.
Sure.
Lanes are closed,
Always. When I go like North Georgia, I said last week that the optimal route was through Atlanta, 75 to 675 to 85.
Yeah.
No. You're just rolling the dice
Yes.
every time you get up there. So, let me just get a little current information. Can I get your home address?
302 RCARD SLEY Place. That's North Georgia, 393. And it's apartment 302.
What was it?
393.
All right, and your phone number's the same?
Yes.
What's that?
478-302-3335.
3335. And, no cross, is that North Atlanta?
It is.
Okay. And where do you work at these days?
Peachtree Ridge High School in Gwinnett County.
Peachtree?
Ridge.
What do you do there?
A teacher of computer science.
Oh. All right. And let's see. Now, Mr. Benton, are y'all still together? No? Do you know where he's currently residing?
I don't, but I'm pretty sure he's in the same spot.
Somewhere in the Atlanta area?
Mhm.
Okay. That's my phone. I'm just trying to make sure I have updated information. So, I don't know if you knew or not, but Sergeant Collins, who originally investigated the death of your child, was, he's on with the department. So,
the case has been just kind of, he had done almost the entire investigation, but at some point, we've just been waiting on that medical examiner report, which for some reason took an extraordinarily long amount of time. I don't know, I've never had one take this long, so that's why I contacted you to let you know kind of that it was finished. We had some discussion about the case and where we go from here, and I just kind of wanted to bring you to that. And I think I already used some of this because Sergeant Collins had told you, but until we actually get an official report from the medical examiner for the GBI, then that's what we have to go by. So I'll just go through and read some of this to you. Now this part is from, let's see, Amy Goodwin, which is GBI. So they've sent this report to the coroner, which is Ian Galvin, in reference to Karter. This was a full autopsy done. The immediate cause of death was bone impact injuries of the abdomen with a laceration of the liver. They deemed the manner of death to be a homicide. And the injuries would have occurred by the child receiving blunt impact trauma to the abdomen. Okay, and that was signed off in September of this year. And then they've got a lot of just report stuff that's just some of it's just medical terminology and stuff, weights and different things. And, let's see if I can get in here. Under the opinion, now this is the opinion of the medical examiner who performed the autopsy. I'll read it. It says, this 2-year, 10-month-old black male child, Karter Ambrose, died of blunt impact injuries to his abdomen. Karter was the last known alive on Tuesday, November 17, 2020, at approximately 30 hours. The mother reports that the child had thrown up in his bed around 0200 and told his mother that his stomach had hurt. The mother left the child in the care of her boyfriend at approximately 7:15. The boyfriend called the mother at approximately 8:30 and said that Karter was having trouble breathing and going in and out of consciousness. He had given the child a breathing treatment, but it didn't work. The mother said to take Karter to his pediatrician, which was located nearby. On arrival, he was unresponsive, and the doctor administered CPR. The nurses called for EMS. This then was transported to the hospital, where resuscitative measures continue but unsuccessful. Further information is contained in their report. The autopsy revealed blunt impact injuries of the head and torso. Most significant injuries were multiple contusions of the abdomen and a liver laceration, which resulted in bleeding into the soft tissue in abdominal cavity. Based on the information known, the manner of death is classified as a homicide. If any, so cause of death. So that's kind of
Which I know, we've been in contact with them.
okay.
My question would be, the blunt force, was that from CPR?
No, because that's why he went into distress. His abdomen was full of blood, and even if if you had a layperson that's pushing someone's chest, these were doctors and nurses that I think the doctor himself performed the CPR. Mm-hmm. So you have a medical professional who's doing that, but no.
There's just no way. There's literally just no way. Because my son had been multiple places before this passing, all of which he showed no sign of hurting, no sign of anything until a literal, my stomach hurts. And that's the last thing, and it wasn't even, my stomach hurts, and he's in pain. It was, Mommy, my stomach hurts.
But then you started having the stomach pain and the vomiting started happening Sunday night too.
Correct. No, Sunday night
Yeah.
is when I asked him, he looked like he wasn't feeling well.
Okay.
Which that wasn't something that it was dramatic because of the time of year is when he normally has breathing issues, and that's what to me it seemed like he was just not feeling well, not
Right.
anything.
But on Sunday night he did complain of stomach hurting, and then continued through Monday off and on was vomiting. So I'm correct.
Monday was when I was at work in Warren Robins.
Right.
I literally went home and he was asleep on the couch. That's when I saw throw up on the floor. At the time I didn't know it was throw up because it just looked like his juice that he had been drinking.
But no, if he was that carpet or not
Carpet.
If
It's
he
orange juice.
did Kianna?
Mm-hmm.
Did he have not seen that?
Yes, he was sleeping on the couch. I don't know if he saw it on the floor or whatever, but me.
I just know if my wife came home, when I get to throw on the floor and they cleaned it up, I'd be like, I'd be like in trouble, kind of thing.
I came in. He's on the couch sleeping. I go over to check on him, kiss him, just to see if he's fine. I look over. I see blood on the floor. Well, from what I suspected, juice.
Yeah.
Because he had his cup, his sippy cup. Carter is usually known for throwing the juice around or the cup around. So my immediate thought is he threw his cup. He had juice
Jesus
on
went
him.
everywhere. But then you later figured out it was,
Later, as in when I went back to work and I came back home, there was also juice on the couch. Which then I said, I then cooked dinner. I also bathed him. In the bath was when I was washing his butt, and he was complaining about his bottom area hurting.
like his butt or like his
Like his,
or lower abdominal?
yes,
Okay.
well, really his balls.
Okay.
And he had done that a week before. But I didn't make anything about it because he's dramatic. Carter, he's a mommy's boy. So I said, okay, I'm going to see if he complains about this again. Nothing else. The next thing I know was the day that he passed away. That night before, I had put him in bed because of the stomach hurting. He had ate, we watched a movie, he danced, literally nothing, until I went back to the room and I checked on him that night. And I saw that he had rolled in the bed.
Okay.
That was the first alarming thing to me.
Right.
Nothing else throughout the entire day, even when I got back home. Nothing else would even tell you that this child was in pain. He was not acting any kind of way, which is why it was such a, if his stomach had been hurt to the point where he would make any kind of movement to let me know that he was in that much pain, I lived next door to the
Well,
doctor.
and realistically, I don't know, I'm not an expert on those kind of injuries. I've been working in this office for almost 30 years, so I've seen a lot of stuff and, had a lot of investigations. I don't know how much pain he would have been in. If there was some impact to his abdomen that caused a liver to start bleeding, it could have just been slowly bleeding. I don't know that, maybe that's something that just over time got worse, and eventually that's what happened. He got to the point where, he was unconscious.
And that's what is so confusing about this entire thing.
But now, when we talk to the medical examiners, and they're giving us a window of, 24, 48 hours when the injury could have occurred. So we're looking at something in that time frame, and realistically, I know from looking back at Sergeant Collins' report that, I know you picked him up for daycare on Friday, so that's, we're talking almost 4 days earlier. You went to the grandfather's on Saturday for a few hours, right?
Basically the whole day, because I went over there and I cooked for my grandfather, and Carter was in the bed sleeping.
But he was with you that whole time, correct?
Correct, he was right there with me.
Right with you. So then we have Sunday, which is all day with you, and then later that afternoon, Kianna, is that how you said it?
Kianna
Came down later this afternoon around 5, and then he was there at night, and was there all day Monday. Now, it's my understanding that you contacted the child's father on Monday and asked him to watch him because he was sick.
Because he was not feeling well.
Right.
Correct.
He was sick, and
And I had to go to
and
work.
apparently he was unable to. So I guess that's why Kianna just stayed over.
Yes, it is.
Okay. So
And the reason being is because my child's father is a firefighter. So I knew, number one, we are very familiar with Carter around that time of year, having issues. And number two, if he could be with anybody, I wouldn't leave him with someone that's not near him or someone close to him.
yeah, I understand.
So that's why none of this makes sense. I know for a fact it didn't happen within the last Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or Monday before, or the Monday before he passed.
Well, you don't know if you're not there. So when you're working, you're not there. You can't say something didn't happen. And I know from reading the other stuff that you think Kianna has nothing to do with this. And again, I don't know. I'm just doing the follow up on this, okay? And I'm not here to rehash the whole case. Y'all already discussed it in other sessions. But me as someone who's seen a lot of these cases, not necessarily this particular kind, but in general, I guess my question, from your end would have been, as the mom, why did you wait so long if he was sick and you were used to taking him to the doctor, if he'd been complaining like for a day and a half about, on and off about his stomach and throwing up at least 4 times?
Here's why. Because Carter is used to, for whatever reason, when he was first born, he would throw up for milk. He's had multiple situations where he'll throw up.
But that's not unusual for children who are on formula to throw up.
Correct.
I mean, that's.
However, Carter also, a couple weeks prior to this, and multiple times, would have random reactions to foods, anything, and every time I take him to the doctor, they just throw him on a steroid, send us on our way.
Okay.
So the stomach ache, if it would have gone over to a 24-hour period to where he was actually complaining and still complaining about it, yes, I would have taken him to the doctor. But that's the reason why this doesn't make sense to me, that it couldn't have happened in that time frame. Because
Well, but then my question to you is that if on Sunday night was his first time he was really complaining, saying he was hurting, and now Tuesday morning, you woke up in the middle of the night, early morning, and he's thrown up again, and you put him in the bed.
so that's my reason for calling his dad.
But that, you called him Monday, right?
Correct.
Okay, but
Sunday night
but
and
you,
Monday morning.
but you said something to the effect that it had been more than 24 hours, but it had been more than 24 hours.
Sunday was the first time that he had ever said anything, or not even really say anything, but started to act as if he was not himself.
Okay. And I get that, but we're at Tuesday morning, you leave for work,
Correct.
so we're
Tuesday morning.
we're over a day. You go from Sunday night, Monday night, now we're Tuesday morning, and you know he's still sick, and y'all give him breathing treatments, and
We gave him one
the
reading.
one treatment, which I think that was when he was toward the end, and then of course he had to rush him to the pediatrician's office at that point. But,
Correct.
I'm just asking, was there? Did you just not think he was that sick, or I mean?
A stomach ache is not alarming to me, which is why my initial thought was check his breathing, because that's his normal issues.
But he never had problems with the breathing.
We've been at NICU 3 times.
No, I'm talking about during this time.
During this time, I did not know. That's just my first immediate, let me check his breathing because of the time of year number 1 and because of his history. He's continuously in the doctor's office for breathing issues. So that was my first thought. With a stomach ache, he's had multiple stomach aches before. So that's what I'm saying. If it was something to where he was crouching over or can't walk or not running around laughing and smiling, of course I would have taken him to the doctor. I go there more times than not. I'm sure they'll tell you. However, it wasn't that. It was literally, Mommy, my stomach hurts, and laying on me. Do you want to go to bed? Mm-hmm. Okay, let's go lay down. That's it. And so for me, that's where my pain is, because I have no idea what could have happened to my child and when it could have happened.
Do you think now, looking back, if you maybe had taken him Monday or taken him to the ER, that and he was bleeding internally, that maybe something could have been found on that?
I don't know. And here's why. Because any other time I take him to the doctor for the breathing, we'd be brushed off. Send him steroids, send him home. We've been to a pulmonologist. Oh, he
But
doesn't
this
look
isn't
like-
breathing. This is abdominal pain throwing up.
This is a stomach ache to me, not abdominal pain. This is.
Okay, well, it's hard to qualify, but I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
If he came to me and said, and was crying, or acting as if he's just literally, from what you're telling me, he should be in the most pain.
Again, I don't know. I don't know how that reflects.
He's 2.
But if, and I'm just giving you a scenario. I have no idea. If you leave for work at Monday at 7 o'clock, and at 9 o'clock something happens, and 3 hours later you come home for lunch,
And he's asleep.
and he's asleep, and
Well, that's.
maybe he's not in pain. Maybe he was, there was some injury there, and he bled, and then continued to bleed until Tuesday. But there's no way the internal organ can get lacerated.
There's no way.
Right, it just can't happen.
So.
Does this change any concerns you have
I know.
about Kianna?
I know Kianna as a person. I know who he is, and I know how he is with kids, and especially with my child. He's in the process of trying to get us to his own.
I understand that. But
So.
sometimes good people make mistakes and do bad things.
Sure.
I mean, it does happen.
Sure.
And I will tell you, it's from my experience, that when you have a child that's going through potty training issues or kind of that transition where sometimes they have an accident or they do that, I think there was some discussion about he peed on himself some, and a few times during this issue, in this investigation, that sometimes those people get frustrated and that can make them act out angrily toward a child during potty training. I'm not saying you did. I'm just saying that somebody else could.
I understand what you're saying, and if that's the case, then do whatever you need to do. I don't care. Because at the end of the day, I know for a fact that care, nothing happened to my child. I know for a fact that when I got home, my child was not acting as if anything had happened to him or if anybody beat him up. And in my mind, because of the relationship that I have with my child and because of previous incidents where even if a child hit him or if someone told him something that he didn't want to do, he'd run to me and immediately tell me.
Let me ask you this. If Karter had been with his dad that weekend, only his dad, no one else, no girlfriend, no grandparents' house, he stayed with his dad all weekend and then had passed just like he did on Tuesday morning. And they come back with this report that says blunt force trauma, lacerated liver, bled internally. What would you think then? Would you say just because he's a good person he couldn't have done it?
I have the same questions because of who he is as a person.
Right.
I don't know. I can't speak on who people are if I have never seen them in that way.
Sure.
So no, I would not have felt any differently about this situation.
So you think,
because I know
so your feelings are based on the fact that
of how I know the person.
the person, okay? And not simply how you see him interact with
How
your
I've
child.
seen them interact with my child. Neither one of them.
But you do understand that that in and of itself is not enough to clear a person
Oh,
out.
of course.
Because if we say Kianna didn't have any part in this, then the only person is you. And you're saying adamantly you didn't do it.
Let's be clear. There is no way in the world that I would hurt my child, and I work with kids all day. That's me. So
But you're
I don't care.
saying if Kianna did this, he should be punished.
Yeah, that's not even a question.
So,
I don't care.
but I guess I'm a little confused from the standpoint of if you were the only person there,
If I was the only person.
then we would all be talking to you. But since you know there was only one other person that was there, how can
It's
you?
hard for me to come to a conclusion about someone that I've never seen. That to me that's like false accusations. I don't want to be a part of that. If he did, hold him accountable. Do whatever you gotta do. I don't care. It's my child. At this point, it's me and my child against everybody else. I don't care. But what I'm saying is that what I know is what I said. And if he knows anything, and if he feels if he didn't reveal everything, I don't know. But at the end of the day, I don't care. Because I just want to know what happened to my son, who did it, and I want that person held responsible. But I know for a doggone fact it didn't happen in my care.
Okay.
So,
Well,
I
I guess what we're looking at as far as the case goes, and ultimately, the district attorney's office makes a decision on who's charged and how they're charged. But you know, if he's charged with a crime of murder or involuntary manslaughter or something like that, you know, that'll be something that the DA decides. But you have to understand also, as a parent and as a caretaker, you bear some responsibility in the fact that you are the parent who's supposed to care for him, and you was sick, and he didn't get medical treatment or get checked, and therefore wound up dying as well. So there are.
when he's sick, it annoys me because
I'm sorry.
it's
Injured?
almost as if
I mean,
I wouldn't have taken those steps.
I understand. And you know what? Hindsight's 20/20. We can all look back and say we should have done something different, or maybe you say you shouldn't.
I shouldn't have, because I would have done the exact same thing because it literally, this child sang, danced, smiled, laughed, everything with me that night before. So for me, my immediate thought, because I know my child, I will be looking for all the signs.
Okay. Well, what I'm telling you is, from a legal standpoint, if the child had some presentment of some type of issue or problem that could have resulted in him getting medical treatment and that was not done or being checked, then you could also have an issue of legal responsibility as well.
So would you take your child to the hospital when they asked you for a stomach ache? Or said they had stomach ache? Would that be your first?
Well, it wasn't the first time. I'm not saying it's Sunday night just because he says he's has some issues or throws up that you immediately have to go. But you got Sunday, you got Monday night, you got Tuesday morning. So
Tuesday morning, nothing was going on with him. Tuesday morning.
when you said you woke up and he had vomited all over himself.
That was in the middle of the night.
But when I say Tuesday morning, I was told it was about 2 o'clock in the morning. So.
When I went to check on him, he had thrown up in the bed. Before I picked him up.
And I don't want to get argumentative with you. I'm just trying to explain to you where we're at legally, okay? That you could bear some legal responsibility from the fact that he wasn't given care and he obviously passed from injuries that appeared to be during that time. He had sustained injuries. Okay? So I don't know that will happen, but that's certainly
He
something.
certainly won't. That's why I have an attorney.
Well,
at
the
this
attorney
point,
can't keep you from getting charged with a
but
crime.
what I'm telling you is don't. Now you're irritating me.
I'm sorry, I don't mean to irritate you.
Because At this point, it's almost as if, and it has been, almost as if I'm a bad mother. And no one has asked about my reputation as a mother, as a teacher, as someone who's literally mentored kids since I was in 12th grade with this police department. So I don't care.
When I read through the report, they did ask about you.
Oh, okay. And I don't care. At the end of the day, everyone around me knows I would do anything for my child. I would protect my child from my own family. If anyone did anything that I did not like, for instance, when my mother herself did not take his breathing issues as if it was a serious thing, she no longer got to watch him. So at this point, that's what I'm trying to tell you. If any indication, he would have been removed.
Well,
Without a doubt.
I believe you on that. I'm not saying you.
As a single mom, what was I supposed to do when I asked his father to get him and take care of him?
I don't know. I'll let you take off work. That's what I
And that's my point. Because that whole week, I was already supposed to be home. It's the end of towards holiday. You only get a certain amount of days. I was actually in the middle of switching jobs. So I was already done that rest of the week, which is why I didn't take off and which is why I offered or asked his father to get him for that day because I was going to be off the rest of the week anyway. So, with that being said, I did everything I knew how to do and what to do. As far as this investigation goes, I don't care what you do with Kianna. But that's who seems like we need to be talking to. Because at the end of the day, I walked in my house, I saw throw on my, or juice on my floor, whatever it was, and I immediately thought, this is weird. But it didn't strike me to be like, oh my God, let me take my son to the hospital. I've been through many situations where he almost did not make it because of his breathing. So I know that it's serious with my child. And I know how my child acts
Well,
when it's serious.
but apparently this time you were wrong. Right?
Weird.
Your son passed away.
My son passed away, yes.
Apparently the wrong decision was made at some point.
Ooh, Jesus.
Well, do you have any questions?
No.
Okay. Well,
I asked you a copy of everything that you got, the medical reports I've been
I can't give you anything because it's still an ongoing investigation. At some point when that's closed, then you can get a copy of whatever you need.
So can my attorney request it?
You can request it, but you can't have it. That's what the investigation is closed. All right?
That video, that's the fair and accurate rendering of the actual interview that you did.
It is.
Is that the extent of your involvement in this case, other than the fact that you did today?
I completed a report based on that interview, and then I forwarded that along with video to the district attorney's office to complete the case file,
Did you handle any evidence in this case?
other than the video and the report back. No, sir.
Because you weren't out at the scene.
No, sir, I wasn't involved in the scene or the actual investigation.
Do you know where she was living at the time?
Apartment complex in Warren.
In Warren Robins? You know who was in House County?
It is.
All right. Do you see Kianna Davis on court today?
Right there.
What is she wearing?
White shirt.
He's identified that for purposes of the record. Nothing further at this time, Your Honor.
Mr. Group, your questions for Lieutenant?
Thank you, Lon. Lieutenant, good to see you again.
Yes, sir.
We go back a long way, do we not?
We do, sir.
I'm not going to be very long with you, but ask you a few things. This incident occurred on or about November the 17th of 2020, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And at that time, you were the lieutenant that was in charge of all of the investigators, is that right?
That's correct.
And the on-call investigator was Sergeant Pete Collins, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Once again, you didn't go to the scene there on Lakeview Road, did you?
No, sir.
Did you? When the investigation that the sergeant did on this case included, did it not, a gathering of possible evidence from the scene, is that right?
I believe there was some items gathered from the scene.
Okay. But you answered Mr. Joyne's question, and I don't want to belabor the point, but the evidence was taken by Investigator Herrera with the Warren Robins Police Department. Is that correct? Did you know of?
That's my understanding.
Okay. And protocol would be for the Warren Police Department to hold that evidence until such time it was needed either by somebody that can analyze it. Is that right?
Assuming it was something that needed to be analyzed, yes.
Were you made aware that there was evidence collected at the scene that should be analyzed?
Yes.
In information provided to you, being the supervisor by Sergeant Collins, did he ever inform you that the Warren Police Department had taken photographs and collected possible evidence that could be used in this case?
I don't think we had a specific discussion about what was photographed or what was taken. I knew that Warren Robins had processed the crime scene, which is very common when we work cases within their jurisdiction. And they always photograph and take anything, take evidence, whether that's their doing or directed by us. I wasn't aware of that specifically.
But once again, 3 months or so later, Sergeant Collins left the sheriff's office and that left the case in whose lap?
What, sir?
Who's the case left with?
It was left with me.
Okay.
Well, as I testified, it was mostly completed from that point. In May of 21, after he left, it was requested that we send the case file to the medical examiner's office, a copy of it, and we did that. So they knew what was there, what was collected. If they had wanted to examine something or test something further, they certainly could have requested that. We would send it.
Are you aware that soon after the child died, that toxicology reports were done on the child as far as, were you aware of that? That there were toxicology reports that were done and completed by the GBI and turned over to law enforcement?
The only thing I was aware of was the final report that we got in late 21. They did a separate toxicology that was sent in. I'm not familiar with that.
Would reports of that nature be necessary in order for there to be an autopsy report?
That's usually part of the autopsy. We wait on that. Generally, that's one of the things that we have to wait on is the toxicology and things for them to include that in the final report.
But once again, the sergeant leaves, you take over the case in February of 2021, right?
Yes, I'm basically monitoring the case at that point.
Okay, by monitoring, what do you do?
I'm not doing anything on a day-to-day basis. The case, as I said, was already investigated. We were waiting on the final autopsy report to find out exactly what caused the death and everything, so we could proceed with this investigation.
So the autopsy report was done after you had this Zoom meeting with Dr. Eisenstadt and Dr. Brown and Eric Edwards of the district attorney's office and other people that worked in their office. Is that right? That was in September?
Yes.
All right. And within a couple of days, the report was generated.
I don't know if it was generated, so I guess there's a date on it, but it was given to me on November 12th.
All right. If the report, do you have a copy of the report with you?
I do.
The report reflected it was actually signed off on by Dr. Brown and provided or completed on September the 29th, 2021.
Yes.
Let's make sure. In the meantime, up until this time, had you ever talked to Ms. Davis?
No.
Do you know if she had ever called your office?
I'm not aware. I assume she talked to Sergeant Collins, but I haven't talked to her.
Okay. Do you know as well not anyone in your office ever talked with Ms. Davis from the time that Sergeant Collins left until you had this Zoom meeting in September of 2021?
Not that I'm aware of.
All right. But in any event, you get the report. The report's provided to you in November, basically in the middle of November of 2021. Is that right?
Correct.
And you took it upon yourself to contact Ms. Davis to see if she could come meet with you.
Yes.
And she came right on down.
Yeah, about a week later.
There wasn't any real delay.
About a week later.
All right. And the first time I guess you met her was when she sat down at the table with you?
Which is on video, yes, sir. That's been my only contact other than phone call.
All right. When she met with you, she told you that she had in fact moved. She had taken a job. She had left this area and taken a job up at Peachtree Ridge High School in Gwinnett County. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Did you check on that?
To verify she was employed as a
Right.
teacher. No, sir.
Objection on the whole judge.
All right, I'll move on. But in any event, based on your reading of the autopsy report, at that point in time, you considered her a suspect, did you not?
Yes.
Did she come with an attorney?
She did not.
She mentioned during the conversation that she had an attorney, did she not?
She didn't say she had one. She asked if she needed to bring one, and I told her she could bring one anytime she wanted.
But
She said she did not wish to bring an attorney.
Okay, but at the end of her conversation, she mentioned that she had an attorney. Is that
Oh, you're
right?
talking about the video?
Right.
Oh, yes. When I mentioned that she could possibly be charged, she said, well, I have an attorney. And I think my response was something like, well, an attorney can't keep you from being charged with a crime.
But she asked you, did she not, if she could have a copy of the autopsy report,
She did.
and you would give it to her?
No, sir.
Why?
Because we don't give out copies of our case file until the case is completed.
So, I mean,
And I told her that, in fact, once it's completed, she was welcome to have a copy.
okay. But you also said that she asked if her attorney could get it, because you didn't think that they would give it to the
We
attorney.
wouldn't give it, now they could give it to the DA's office during discovery. She could request it from the coroner's office if she wanted to.
Now, this was, once again, this conversation that you had with her, is that the last time that you talked to her?
It is.
And that was, once again, December the 9th of 2021, correct?
Yes, sir.
And she was free to leave after that.
She was free to leave and she did leave.
And at any point in time, did you ever arrest her?
I did not.
Did you ever take warrants?
I did not.
You presented to the district attorney's office for them to consider this, is that right?
It was, the agreement, discussion with the DA's office was that once we completed everything, it would be turned over to their office. They would review everything, and then it would be presented to the grand jury for an indictment.
And when this matter was presented to the grand jury, it was when?
I couldn't tell you, sir, I wasn't involved in that.
About 2 years later, that first day?
I would assume, but again, I wasn't there.
Okay. You weren't the
Objection, Your Honor, on relevance.
Objections overruled. It is already in evidence, however, that this case was presented to the grand jury in October of 2023. Moving on.
all right. But you didn't present this case to the grand jury?
I did not know.
During the period of time between the, when you had this meeting with Ms. Davis and the time that it was indicted, did you continue to work on the case?
There wasn't anything for us to work on after I completed writing it up and I turned over my case file. I continued to have communication with the DA's office about the grand jury, when this case was being presented. So that was my only follow-up, was inquiring about that.
And you never had any other occasion to talk to Ms. Davis about this matter?
I did not.
Just say it, Your Honor.
Yep.
That's all I have, Your Honor. Thank you.
All right. Will this witness be excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you, Lieutenant Meadows. You're free to go or stay as you wish.
Thank you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we've been on in about an hour and 45 minutes, so we're going to take, well, a little longer than that, honestly. Anyhow, we'll do for break. Don't talk about the case. Don't let anybody talk about the case with you. Take about 15 minutes, you may be excused to the jury room. How many more you got, Mr.?
And the rest.
Okay. All right, so if you're going to do that after the break, Mr. Greer, do you have evidence you want to present?
Judge, if I may talk to my client during the break,
Yep.
if she was going to say something.
Okay. I'm going to print, I don't care, it coming along. Maybe I'm going to go to my office and print a copy of the charge that I have thus far, so that when we're talking, y'all can follow along. And then we'll see where we're at, okay?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, let's take 15 minutes and then we'll reconvene and see what we're doing next. Let me close this one. Okay, scan it.
Ms. Davis, let me have you, raise your right hand, please. You solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you give in this honorable court to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, so say I do. Okay, Ms. Davis, I need for you to speak slowly and loudly, so the court reporter can take down all the testimony and the jury, of course, can hear you as well as the judge. Ms. Davis, you are the defendant in this action, are you not? And do you understand that you're under indictment of these 7 charges that have been presented here to this jury during this week? Is that correct?
Correct.
Do you understand, Ms. Davis, that you are under no obligation to testify?
Correct.
That if you should decide to not testify, then this jury cannot infer or think anything harmful towards you because of your silence. You understand that?
Yeah.
Do you also understand that if you should decide not to testify, that the district attorney's office could not argue to the jury that you're holding something back? And that if you do give testimony, then you'll be subject to cross-examination by the district attorney's office. Knowing that, do you wish to testify here today?
I do.
All right.
Yeah, speak up for me, okay, Ms. Davis?
Ms. Davis, just make sure that we have your complete full name. Tell us that, please.
Kianna Davis,
What is your middle name?
Aisha Renee,
And tell me the date that you were born,
December 12, 1990,
and where were you born at?
in Merlin, South Carolina.
Ms. Davis, are you a high school graduate?
I am.
Where did you graduate from and when?
Warner Robins High School in 2009.
Have you lived in Warner Robins most of your life?
Warner Robins, South Carolina, yes.
Are you married? Have you ever been married?
No,
Did you give birth to any children?
I did.
And who was that child?
Karter Ambrose.
What day was Karter born?
January 14, 2018,
And where was he born at?
in Macon, Georgia.
And when did Karter pass away?
He passed away November 17th of 2020.
Who's the father of Karter?
Kianna Davis.
Let me ask you this, Ms. Davis. Were you and Mr. Ambrose, Kadeem Ambrose, were you living with each other at the time that Karter was conceived?
At the time that he was conceived, no, but when I found out I was pregnant, yes.
Okay. And where were you living at that time?
That time he was conceived.
Right.
I believe I was back at my grandfather's house,
And who's your grandfather?
James Kennedy.
And Mr. Kennedy testified yesterday, is that right?
He did.
And what is his address?
309 Bonnie Drive, Warner Robins, Georgia.
And is that off Russell Parkway?
It is.
Is that where you're living at now?
It is currently.
And so at some point in time, you were with child. Is that correct?
Yes.
And Kadeem Ambrose was the father of that child, is that right?
That's correct.
At some point in time, did you and he move in together?
We did.
When would that have been? Approximately.
Approximately, maybe immediately after I found out I was pregnant, or maybe like a month or two afterwards.
And where did you move in with Mr. Ambrose?
We moved to Sandpiper Apartments.
And that's in Warner Robins, is that
That
correct?
is correct.
Is that off Russell Parkway?
That is correct.
So at this apartment, until the baby was born, just you and he?
Correct.
Where was he working at?
He was a firefighter for his firm firefighter.
And he testified, did he not, yesterday?
Correct.
And at that time, where were you employed at?
I believe I was working at FedEx at the time, but then I switched jobs to a dermatology office
Where was this dermatology office at?
in Maine.
And this is while you were pregnant with Karter, is that correct?
Correct.
Were you in college at the time?
I believe I was taking some extra classes. I had already gotten one degree, but I was getting certified for a specific programming language.
Okay, where did you get your bachelor's degree from?
Mercer University.
Out of Macon?
Yes.
And what was that degree in?
Software application development and human computer interactions.
And you say that you were taking some extra classes at that time, is that right?
I was taking, this was before going to Mercer, but I was taking extra. I already had a degree in web design and web development, so I was just continuing my education by taking more classes to get certified in a specific programming language.
Okay, what specific program were you going into?
Java programming.
Pardon?
Java is a programming language, so I was getting certified for that specific language.
Okay. Were these classes that were going towards a master's degree?
After the software application development, yes, I did get a master's degree after that.
So at some point in time, after you got your degree from Mercer, did you begin teaching?
I was teaching before already. I was working for Central Georgia Technical College as an industrial aide, so essentially I was teaching.
Tell us, you were working for where?
Central Georgia Technical College. I was working as an industrial aide, so essentially my job was to run all of the technology in the classrooms that were being ran by the college for new enrollment here in high school.
And Central, this is off Cohen Walker, is that right?
Correct.
And when did you start working for them?
I believe around June of 2019.
Okay, and this was after the baby was born, is that correct?
Correct.
Were you and Dean Ambrose still living together at that time?
Yes, you are.
And tell the jury, if you would, if you worked for the college there, where that job took you to.
My main location and my office was in Jones County in Milledgeville, Georgia, where I spent most of my time until COVID happened. And then due to low staffing, I had to then take over other offices in the Warren Robins area.
Oh, okay. You take other offices at other schools, is that correct?
Correct.
Which other schools would you work in?
The Housing County Career Academy here in Warren Robins.
And that's off Russell Parkway?
That is correct.
Okay. And where else?
The Central Georgia Technical College at Cohen Walker.
Okay. And were you still working at the school at Jones County?
Yes, I was doing all of them.
Okay. How often would you go to these different locations? Would you report every morning to the college and then drive to either the Jones County High School, or how would you do that?
It would depend on which classes I was monitoring that day. So I would typically get a schedule for the semester at the beginning of the semester, and it depends on whether or not the teacher was canceling class or not. They would let me know, and I would either go to the location or I would stay in my office in Jones County.
Would you do this 5 days a week?
5 days a week, yes, sir.
Okay. And in doing this, Karter, did you continue to teach? When did you leave teaching here for the college?
I signed my contract with Gwinnett County Public Schools in October of 2021. So I was scheduled to leave here and start working there in January of 2021. I'm sorry.
Make sure we have the dates
I'm
right.
sorry. I signed my contract October of 2020 with Gwinnett County, and I was supposed to start working with Gwinnett County in January of 2021.
And Karter passed away in November.
Yes, he ended up passing away in January.
Now, so I take it, well, because we're doing these things in a sequence, you, after Karter passed away, did you subsequently move to Gwinnett County?
I moved to Gwinnett County when I started my job, so I would say maybe a week before the semester began, so around January 6th of 2021.
And what school did you work at?
At the time, I was scheduled at Peachtree Ridge High School.
And how long did you stay there?
I stayed for 1.5 years because I was promoted after that.
And did you stay at that school, or did you go to another school?
I went to open a school. That was part of my promotion to help open the computer science department at Second High School.
Kianna, can you approach?
Yep.
Ms. Davis, tell us again as to which high school you went to work for after Peachtree Ridge.
Second High School.
Okay, spell that.
SECKINGER.
And that was a high school, a public high school
Yes, it had just opened the year that I started.
in Gwinnett County.
Yes.
And you stayed there until that you were arrested on this charge.
That's correct.
And that was when?
That was in October of 2023.
And since you were arrested, you were prevented from continuing to teach, is that correct? At that school?
Because I cannot physically be there, yes. So that was my only condition.
And you're currently living house arrest, is that correct?
That is correct.
And that's in Little Robbins.
That is correct.
Objection, Your Honor, this isn't relevant.
The objection sustained, the jury will disregard any reference to the conditions of her pretrial release. Moving on.
All right. Now, Ms. Davis, let me ask you this. Karter, his date of birth again was when?
January 14th, 2018.
And at the time that Karter was born, did he develop any problems as far as being sickly?
Yes, he did.
Okay. Once again, you were living in San Michael Apartments with Mr. Ambrose?
I was.
Was Karter hospitalized soon after he was born?
I'm not sure how soon it was, but he was hospitalized for sure, right before his first birthday.
And for what type of problems?
He was having breathing issues, and he was admitted into the NICU for a few days.
The NICU where?
In Macon.
At the time that this happened, were you and Mr. Ambrose still living with each other?
Yes, he was.
At some point in time, who was your doctor for Karter?
Dr. Waters
And where was Dr. Waters
at Primary Pediatrics.
And that's the primary pediatrics that we've been talking about all week, is that correct?
That's correct.
At some point in time, did you and Mr. Ambrose move from where you were living at San Michael Apartments?
We did.
Where did you move to?
We moved to 6080 Lakeview Road, which was the doctor's office. It was right next to the doctor's office.
Okay, how far away?
There's 6082, so I would say maybe a few yards, not even.
And was that primarily a reason for you moving to this location?
Yes, because of my child's medical conditions, I felt more comfortable moving closer to the doctor's office.
Would it be a fair statement to say that you spent a lot of time at pediatrics, at the pediatric place?
A lot of time, yes. I would say, yes.
And you were aware, or you not, of all the medical reports that were provided by their business, is that correct?
That is correct.
As far as you know, this is a true and accurate representation of the times that you took Karter to that place for treatment, is that right?
That is correct.
What type of treatments?
You mean what type of things that he
Right.
go for? He's been for allergic reactions. He's mainly been for breathing issues and his minor checkups, regular checkups, and any COVID tests and anything that we do.
At some point in time, did the relationship between yourself and Mr. Ambrose, did it dissolve or end?
It did.
When would that have been?
I really can't tell you when it started to dissolve, but I know for sure when he moved out in March of 2020.
Okay. He moved out in March of 2020, is that right?
Correct.
And you were still teaching at the college, is that right?
That is correct.
During this period of time, you say it was March of 2020 when Mr. Ambrose moved out.
That is correct.
Did you maintain contact with him from the time that he left until Karter passed away?
Contact as in regarding the child, yes.
Was he paying child support?
He was, we had an agreement before I actually initiated the court order child support.
All right. Now, during this particular period of time from after Mr. Ambrose left, where was Karter being? Was he getting daycare, or how were you doing about keeping when you worked?
Yes, so I would take him to daycare before work, and then I would pick him up in the afternoon unless his father was off from work or was able to, because his schedule didn't allow him to take him to work because he didn't be off in time for it.
All right. And where was this daycare at?
Off of Russell Parkway near Warren's Municipal.
Would that have been with Ms. Stark that testified
That's
this
correct.
week? And how often would Ms. Stark keep Karter?
She would keep him pretty much every day unless I had a day off or his father had a day off.
And did that involvement between yourself and Mr. Ambrose, was that fairly successful as far as looking after Karter?
Sure, yes.
Okay. No, there weren't any problems with that.
No, because we did everything around his schedule.
24 on, 48 off, okay, and you recognize that he had a part-time job,
That's
so.
correct.
Now, let me move on to November of 2020. Up until then, was Carter a happy child?
Yes, very much.
And for the most part, was he fairly healthy?
For the most part, other than his medical issues.
And if there was a problem with Carter, you would take him over to the pediatric place, is that correct? And you fairly regular over there?
Yes, I'm a regular.
Ms. Davis, I'm not, and you know, Mr. Boyne may ask, but I'm not going to get into, we've all heard what happened on the 17th of November. At that particular point in time, the day that Carter passed, where were you at physically?
The day that he passed, I was at work
Where at?
in Milledgeville, Virginia.
And that was for one of the high schools up there, is that
For
right?
Johnson County High School.
And Mr. Benton was watching Carter, is that correct?
That's correct.
Did you, when you found out that Carter was in distress, where did you go to? Where did you rush to?
I was on the phone with Mr. Benton, and he informed me that they were transporting him to the emergency room, so I met them at Peachtree County Medicine.
Now, the information that you provided to the sergeant in this matter, and also to Lieutenant Meadows, and we heard the videos, to your recollection, way of thinking, is all that true and accurate to the best of your knowledge and belief?
Yes.
As far as the timetable is concerned, did you lay that out for Sergeant Collins and also for Lieutenant Meadows?
I did.
On the Monday night before Carter passed on Tuesday, did you contact his father, Mr. Ambrose, as to whether or not he could watch the child?
I did.
And why was that?
Because I felt more comfortable with him being home with either me or Mr. Ambrose. However, I could not take off work that day, the next day. So I asked Mr. Ambrose if he could possibly take off work to watch him.
And he would not, is that correct?
That is correct.
Were y'all going through a little bit of a spat as far as the child support order is concerned at that time?
I was not. I think that I don't think he agreed with my going to do it through the court system. So I don't think we weren't really on good terms because of that.
But anyway, you went to work on that Tuesday.
Correct.
Ms. Davis, let me ask you this. As far as did you ever do anything to harm your child?
No.
I mean, this jury has to decide these charges against you. Was this child ever harmed or hurt or injured by you or in your presence? Now, Mr. Benton, from time to time, had been at your place and looked after Carter, is that correct?
That is correct.
Your sworn testimony, has Mr. Benton ever done anything in your presence or to your knowledge where he would harm this child?
No.
did you ever take any action to where as though you felt like you were being negligent in taking care of the needs of Carter?
No.
Do you recall the child at any point in time falling or hurting himself or being in an accident of some sort there at the residence?
No, I did not.
The Saturday before, you were at your granddaddy's house, is that right?
That's correct.
Did you keep a close eye on Carter the whole time?
Yes, because he's always up under me.
Ms. Davis, this happened almost 6 years ago, and do you still remember what happened during those days before?
Vaguely.
As you have explained once again, what happened then to Sergeant Collins and Lieutenant Meadows, do you stand by what you said?
Absolutely.
And also Marcus Jackson from DFAX was there, is that correct?
That's correct.
During the period of time after Carter passed away, did you try to stay in touch with the sheriff's department or law enforcement of some sort as to what was going on with the investigation?
Oh, yes. Yes, absolutely.
I mean, what would you do?
I was consistently calling them for the 3 years.
And who would you talk to, do you know?
They would never come to the phone. I would always refer to assistants and leave my number, and that they would get back to me, and they would never get back to me, which is why I continue to call.
Would that just be law enforcement, or did you also try to contact the district attorney's office?
But I would contact one of our police department, the sheriff's department, and the district attorney's office.
And you heard the testimony of Sergeant Collins, and you met with him, did you not? And right after Carter passed away, and then a few weeks later, is that
That's
right?
correct.
Did you ever talk to him anymore?
We did have one phone conversation, and that's all.
And when was the next time you heard from anybody from the sheriff's department?
I did not hear from anyone from the sheriff's department anymore after my last meeting with or Sergeant Collins.
And at some point, have you heard from Lieutenant Meadows, is that right?
A year later, yes.
And you drove down to meet with him, is that right?
That is correct.
And, are you standing by the conversation or the information that you provided him at that meeting on December 2021?
Correct.
Did you still continue to try to get in touch with law enforcement about this?
Yes, for 2 more years.
Did they ever call for you to come down here and meet with them anymore?
No, they did not.
And the whole time you were teaching in Gwinnett County, is that right?
That is correct.
In addition to law enforcement, did you also talk to the coroner's office?
I never spoke to the coroner's office.
Ms. Davis, you're under oath, once again. Did you ever do anything to harm your child?
No.
Did you ever do anything to where you were reluctant or unwilling or unable to seek medical care for this child?
No.
Judge, that's all I have. Thank you, Ms. Davis. Mr. Floyd, any other questions?
Yes, with you, counsel.
State's Exhibit 11. What is that?
That is a picture of my child's liver.
Your child's liver. That's quite a laceration, isn't it?
It is.
It is. And you heard the testimony that it would be 24 to 72 hours out. So either Monday morning to Saturday morning, correct?
Correct.
And he was just telling you his stomach hurt?
He was pointing at one point saying my stomach hurts, and that's all.
And you heard Dr. Eisenstadt say this is a serious injury, right?
I did.
And that quite a bit of force would be needed in order to cause that injury.
That is correct.
But so Monday he was just okay?
Monday he was throwing up. I was at work all day Monday, so I did not see him all day. I only saw him during the period of time when I returned home for lunch and when I returned home after 5 p.m.
Okay. And he was hurting overnight though, wasn't he?
No,
He wasn't?
overnight what day?
Sunday.
Sunday, no, he was not.
Now you said just a minute ago that you stand by the statements that you gave Collins, correct?
Correct.
And in your first statement, you told him that the symptoms started Sunday night.
I told him that on Sunday. He told me that, Mommy, my stomach hurts, and that was all. On Sunday night.
That was not your first statement to him.
It was my first statement to him.
Well, we all watched it.
We did.
And they can watch it again.
They can.
Yes, they can. So Monday he's throwing up. Is that right?
Monday, when I got home from lunch, I suspected that what was on the floor was a puddle of juice. I did not suspect at that time that it was thrown up until after he threw up with me after I returned home around 5 p.m.
But you didn't take his calls for help seriously, did you?
I did take it as seriously as I could from what I was presented and what he was showing me.
I think you had said that he's never thrown up like that before.
He has thrown up like
He
that.
has thrown up like that before. But he's a crybaby, isn't he?
He's a crybaby in the sense of he would tell me or he would cry if something was seriously injured or seriously wrong.
He would tell you something seriously wrong with him?
He would be crying and he would notify me that something was wrong with him. And
Is it?
pointing or making, like I testified or like I said, he wasn't at a point where he could say, well, the sentence is hit, so it would be fragments of this, mommy this, mommy that.
Well, is a 2-inch laceration to a 2-year-old's liver serious?
Yes,
It's very serious. That's why he died, right?
correct.
But he didn't say, point, he wasn't crying, it wasn't really alarming to you, was it?
He was not crying, he was not crouching over, he was not holding his stomach, he was not doing anything except for saying, mommy, stomach hurt, and mommy, juice.
And you expect Gary to believe that a 2-year-old crybaby, who you said cried over everything, who had a 2-inch laceration of his liver, wasn't really crying?
I expect him to believe what I saw and what I presented.
When did you break up with Kianna?
Me and Kianna ended our relationship around February of 2021
Why?
because
Because why?
we did. We just broke up. That was my first time dating. And 2, all of this was going on, so it was really a lot for me to even try to be in a relationship with anyone or focus on anything other than my child and this case.
And you knew him, right?
Correct.
And you repeatedly denied that he would have done anything to your child.
That is correct.
But you denied that you did anything to your child.
Absolutely.
And the time frame, as we've all heard, is that you and Kianna were the only two who had access to him.
During Sunday to Monday.
Right.
Correct.
Right. Other than the Saturday that you were at your father's house, right?
Right.
Okay, but he was fine that day.
He was running around.
And then Sunday is when he's not feeling well?
Sunday night is when he first mentioned mommy, my stomach hurts.
Okay. And then it's Monday?
Monday after I got home from work, yes. I had to do it again.
But you say Kianna would never do anything like that.
That is correct.
But you deny having done this thing.
That is correct.
So who would have done it if the only two people were he and you?
That is a good question.
So we just don't know.
We don't. Considering, and I will say this, nurses, they've all testified that my child did not have bruises on his body when he was presented to them. That is Tuesday morning. So, according to that time frame that you're trying to give me, by Tuesday morning, if something like this would have happened, he would have absolutely shown bruises or something on his body to a complete staff of medical professionals. And every one of them got on the stand and testified that they saw nothing. So, I also did not see anything to a point where I thought that I needed to rush my child to an emergency room after hours, after everyone was already off. I did not get home from work until 5 o'clock. That is after hours. I would have had to make an after hours appointment. I did not choose to do so because that was the first time that my child had grown up in my presence. And I believe that keeping him home would have sufficed for enough time for us to be able to monitor him and then decide from there what we needed to do.
So you said you didn't see anything.
I did not see anything.
Right. At some point you said you gave him a bath and you complained his balls hurt.
I was washing his balls scrubbing his balls, obviously, because he had threw up on himself. And he said, ouch, and I assumed that it was because I was rubbing his balls too hard.
Well, and I'm looking at State's Exhibit 10, which is a picture of that very region of his body.
Correct.
Okay, so he said, and is that not kind of a weird place to have a pain?
Not while I'm rubbing it, no.
Okay, so you never saw the injury,
I never saw
To him.
anything.
had no idea.
I never saw anything.
What about the injury to his cheek?
I was not aware of any injuries to his cheek.
No, you didn't tell Sergeant Collins that was from a hickey?
I did not tell him it was from a hickey. I told him that me and my child often kiss each other and like to suck on each other's faces.
And is that what caused that mark?
I have no idea.
So it could be from you sucking on your child's face.
Could be I have a video of me sucking on his face.
Now, it's your testimony that you and Kadeem moved to that Lakeview Road apartment so you could have easy access to the pediatrics office, right? And we've seen the medical records, correct?
That is correct.
And he said that you were a regular.
That is correct.
And what would you take him in for?
There have been multiple allergic reactions, random ones. He also had breathing issues that either they would send us to the emergency room for, or we would already be there, or it was regular checkups. And then, of course, I always saw them whenever his allergies were sort of or his vomiting removed.
And you didn't have any problem taking him right away, right?
I didn't take him right away there either.
Okay, you never took him right away?
To the doctor.
Yeah, I mean, if you had a problem, you just took him to the doctor, right?
No, you have to make an appointment.
Okay. You have to make an appointment?
That's correct.
Okay, well, obviously you have to make an appointment.
That's obvious.
Would you make an appointment once you saw the symptoms?
I would make an appointment once I monitor his symptoms.
Once you monitor his symptoms?
Yes.
Like you monitor his throwing up?
From 5 p.m. until the morning that he passed.
Were you monitoring the symptoms when he threw up in his sleep?
I was sleeping, so no, until I went into the room. That was my intent to get up in the morning. I set my alarm to get up in the middle of the night to go and check on him.
But you were aware that he threw up while he was asleep?
Correct.
And that wasn't alarming?
It was at that point, that was my very first alarm because he had threw up in his sleep and not while he was awake.
But you don't call Monday when you get up, right? When you wake up Monday, you just go to work.
Why would I need to call anyone on Monday?
I don't know. Would you potentially, you just said it was alarming that he threw up in his sleep.
That was Monday night.
Okay. And then he threw up again Monday, correct? So Monday he throws up in his sleep, which you say is alarming, but you go to work.
Monday at 3, that will be Tuesday now. At
Okay,
3
it's
a.m.
Tuesday? See, I'm still hung up on the fact that you told Collins that these symptoms started Sunday.
I
Maybe the first
told
symptom.
Collins that he first mentioned that his stomach was hurting on Sunday. On Monday is when I went to work. He was at home, and when I came home from lunch, he was sleeping, and there was juice on my floor. And what I presented was juice because the sippy cup was sitting right beside it open.
Right, but I guess my point is that on the first interview that you gave Collins, you told him that the kid was throwing up, Karter was throwing up Sunday. It wasn't until a month later, a couple weeks later, that you told him, oh, now it's Monday.
I did not, and also I spoke with Mr. Collins the first time the day after my child had died. So I was completely discombobulated that day.
Okay. And so you had kind of no idea what was going on. You're just monitoring conditions, but Carter's just happy as can be.
I'm monitoring his conditions, yes.
Right, and Carter's fine?
From my understanding, he has not yet thrown up in my prison.
Okay, so why doesn't Kadeem get to FaceTime his child?
Me and Kadeem were going through obviously a court battle, and he was annoying me, so I blocked his number. He could still contact me via either email or he could call my child's tablet.
He was annoying you by trying to figure out his overpayment of child support.
Why would he be overpaying for child support? That doesn't even make any sense.
You heard his testimony.
Why would he give you money for child support if he knew that he was overpaying?
I mean, he provided
He
his
gave me the money,
response.
that is correct, so that would not be overpaying, that is a voluntary, I'm giving you the money.
Stop emailing me. No, you can't get her to talk to Carter. Leave me the fuck alone. And that's the last time I'm going to tell you.
Correct.
All right. So, but you heard Kadeem's testimony about how you would block him when you got mad, but that he would always get to see his child, FaceTime or talk to him.
You also heard him say that he can only get his child during the time in which he's off work, so that would mean that he would have to be off work from his part-time job and his job at the fire station, which is not something that he can just say, I'm off. It's based on his schedule.
I'm not talking about his work schedule, whether or not he gets to keep Kadeem. I'm talking about the fact that his testimony was that even when you would block him be mad at him, he would still see his child on FaceTime or be able to call the child. And now, the weekend where your child's suffering a lacerated liver, all of a sudden he can't see his child.
No, I called him on Monday and asked him if he could watch the child.
Right. You called him Monday at what time?
When I got off of work, when he grew up in my arms.
Okay, after he's been sick for a while?
I just saw him throw up for the first time that moment.
You saw him throw up for the first time at that moment when he was in your arms?
Correct, he threw up with me.
Okay. And that was when or where?
Monday in the kitchen.
Monday in the kitchen.
After I got off from work.
Okay, so we had the red flag in the middle of the night. Was that?
That was after.
That was after? Okay. All right, so you called Kadeem and said, come here.
I called Kadeem and asked him if he could take off of work to watch him that full day and monitor him. Yes.
And then after the fact, you blamed him for this, right?
No,
Yeah. You didn't say if he had just come get him, none of this would happen?
I do not recall saying that.
You don't recall saying that, but you heard Kadeem say that.
That may be his feelings. I have nothing to do with that.
What do you mean it has nothing to do with that? It's a conversation between you and him.
No, it's a conversation between you and him, or him and his own thoughts that has nothing to do with me.
So Kadeem's just making stuff up.
What would he be making up? He said out of his mouth, if he would have gotten the child, it probably wouldn't have happened. I had no control over that. All I could do was pick up the phone and ask my child's father, can you watch your child? And considering that she had just been calling me for 2 days, asking me if you could see the child, I would suspect that she would assuredly want to watch the child, especially knowing that he was sick. But he told me no.
Or, none of this would have happened meant that the finger would have been pointed at him.
No, I don't know what you're referring to.
Right.
Why would I tell him that? He's my child's father. He's never.
Why would you tell him what?
Why would I tell him that if none of this would ever happen if he had been watching my child?
Well, if the child died on his watch, with one finger at him,
We didn't know the child was injured at the time.
you didn't know?
No,
No. Just all this throw up, my tummy hurts.
correct.
Mhm. And you stand by your statements that Kianna would never do this.
I stand by my statement that no one around me would ever harm my child.
So, if Monday is throwing up, why didn't you just make an appointment for him then?
I asked for my child's father, who is an EMT and a firefighter, to watch his sick child. He is fully medically trained to watch his own child. He is medically trained to take care of anyone who is in an emergency situation. So yes, I went to him first before I took him to the doctor.
Well, you did take him to the doctor.
Correct, I did not have time. He passed away at 8:40 or 9:30 that next morning.
Right, well, but he was sick in the morning, wasn't he?
I went to work that morning.
Right, and that's
And
my
I
point.
FaceTimed him, and I told Keon to rush him to the doctor's office, which was next door.
So after you couldn't pawn him off to Keon, or to Kadeem, you wanted to leave him with Keon.
Don't pawn him off to his own father? How was that?
This injured child? Yes. Yes,
At
so
the
you just
time,
go to work.
He was injured. At the time, the only thing that he was presenting to us was throw up.
Throw up in his stomach hurt really bad.
Not really bad. Mommy, my stomach hurt.
Not really bad. 2-inch lacerated liver, but he's telling you his stomach just hurts. It's not really bad. He's not crying. Nothing.
He is not crying. I work with children. I would have suspected someone of this magnitude to be crouching over, to be holding his stomach, to be indicating something of pain.
I think we all would. So when Kadeem doesn't take Karter, you don't make a doctor's appointment for him.
It's at this point around 7 o'clock, and after hours is what you would have to do in order to get an appointment. You would have to call the number, and if you get an appointment, they will then tell you that you can come in at a certain time the next day. So there is no instance where he would have been able to see any medical professional unless I called 911 that day.
Urgent care's open?
I don't know about urgent care.
Emergency room's open?
He did not present any symptoms where I felt like I needed to take him to.
And that's not what I asked you. I asked you was an emergency room open.
I'm assuming
You're assuming
emergency rooms are open.
they're not open 24 hours?
I'm assuming they're open 24 hours.
You assume that's not something that you just know, you're just guessing that that's true?
I don't work for an emergency room, so I don't know what to
And neither do I, but I don't need to work for an emergency room to know that I can go there at any time.
Correct.
Right. So you do know that.
You can go to an emergency room at any time. That's basic information.
And if you had called your doctor, chances are you would have gotten a recording that said this is after hours. If this is an emergency, please hang up and dial 911.
Correct.
You do none of that.
Why would I need to call 911 for vomit or juice?
Or go to the emergency room
He was vomiting juice, and this was not the first time that my child had vomited. And the first time that he was vomiting, we did go and see a doctor, and she told me that because it could be an allergic reaction, that he would eventually get over it. So no,
But it is the first time that he vomited in his sleep and didn't wake up.
he did wake up.
He did wake up.
You just heard them say that he was on the phone with me, and he was awake.
In his sleep the night before.
In his sleep the night before, he threw up in his sleep. I took him and I moved him to the other bed. When I got up that morning for work, which was a couple hours later, he was wide awake and he was talking.
You were on the phone with Kianna when he was taking your dying child to primary pediatrics, correct?
I was on FaceTime the entire time.
Okay. Do you remember any of the statements that y'all made on the phone?
Statements on the
Do you remember any part of that conversation?
No, because I was at that point driving from Milledgeville. I ran out of my office and I was driving from Milledgeville back to Monroe.
So you don't recall if Kianna said to you, man, I should have brought him in last night when you told me to?
No,
Why would you have told him to take Karter?
that's a very good question because why would I tell him to take him?
Right, well, I mean, you did tell him to take him
I
Tuesday
did not
night.
tell him. On Tuesday morning?
You did.
Why wouldn't I tell him? He's the only one with him.
He said, don't worry about that right now, just get here. Do you recall that?
I do not.
The daycare, Miss Shirley, right? How long have you been knowing her?
I've known her since my child went to daycare.
And you kind of went to high school. You went to high school with Kazette
I did believe not hang out with him.
until you started bringing Karter to her mom, and then you guys kind of had more of a friendly relationship.
No, I never had any type of relationship with Kazette until after my child passed.
Okay. Till after your child passed. So what was that relationship like?
There was no relationship. It was more so they had a party and she invited me over and I went to her place and that was the last time that I saw her. So to Kazette.
And you took wine to her place, right?
I did not take mine.
So you didn't go to her place to pick up a plate?
I went to her place, like I said, they were having a party of some sort and I went to pick up a plate of food. Yes.
You don't even know what kind of party it was?
No, I don't.
You don't recall it being a Christmas party?
No,
You don't recall that you took Christmas gifts there?
he didn't tell me that he took Christmas gifts. So
Okay, okay. But who called you and told you that you could get a plate?
Kazette,
Gazette did? And you could pick it up from her house?
correct.
And you guys didn't discuss anything while you were there?
No,
You didn't tell her that he had a lacerated liver?
I don't recall, no.
Okay. You don't recall? Well, you just said that you didn't talk to her at all, and now you're saying you just don't recall if you made that statement.
I just said I don't recall telling her that my child's liver was lacerated. I obviously had a conversation with her because I was at her place.
And you told her that you Googled it?
I don't recall telling her that.
You don't recall telling her that it could be because he jumped off the couch?
No, I don't recall telling her anything, but if I did, then I would probably have said what I researched.
And you never blamed Kianna?
No.
Well, Miss Shirley, did you keep in contact with Miss Shirley after Karter's death?
Not really, other than her checking on me, no.
So you guys had a discussion though, right? She would check on you, would she just say, are you okay, and then hang up the phone, or would you guys actually exchange words?
I don't recall.
You don't recall
It
anything?
was 6 years ago, I don't recall.
It was 6 years ago, but she just testified that that's what happened.
That is what she testified to. That's not my recollection of the conversation.
She spent a lot of time with your child, didn't she?
She watched my child.
Pretty much all day unless he wasn't at work, right?
Correct.
Right. She loved your child, didn't she?
Sure.
And she made, what was it, a pillow with his picture on it?
She did.
And at his viewing, he had some kind of vehicle in his hands, didn't he?
He did.
And that was her vehicle, Miss Shirley's, right?
I'm not sure.
We're not sure, and you didn't give it back to her?
Why would I? She left it in his casket, I'm assuming.
But you guys would never discuss anything after this? About Karter?
No, I did not.
Okay, so you never told her that he fell off and hit his head on the bed?
No.
So everybody's lying,
Yeah.
except you.
Why would I have to lie?
Well, why would the primary pediatrics people lie?
What did they lie
About the statements that were made on the phone
What do you
with you and Kianna. The people that you love, that we saw in the body cam, how broken up you were for them. About what happened to this boy because he was a regular and they knew him so well. The moment you went into the office, they knew you. Right? So why would they make up these statements that are made on the phone?
They only said that I told him to, or that he said, don't worry about it, just get here.
Yeah, and what were you doing?
Driving.
You were driving?
Correct.
Okay. coming from?
Milledgeville, Georgia.
What age kids did you work with? I think it sounds like maybe they were college students. Did
They
you
were
work
high
with?
school students.
High school students? But you don't really know anything about the statements on the phone.
I was driving, they just told me my child was being rushed to the emergency room. I'm driving, I have an hour drive. I'm also trying to contact his father to notify him of what's going on. There's a lot going on while I'm trying to drive on the highway.
So what is Keon referring to when he says don't worry about that, just get here?
I have no idea. I'm sure I was trying to find out information about my child.
Did you talk about this afterwards with Kadeem?
Talk
Talk about anything?
I had multiple conversations with his father.
And was there any conversation about the lacerated liver and him and Keon? Have you ever found out about something?
Every time that I would try to contact my child's father about the case or anything involving the case, he did not want to talk about it, which I can understand that he didn't want to have more conversation about it at this time.
Well, I don't think that's what I'm referring to. Because didn't he testify that he told you that he didn't know what he would do if he found out it was Keon? Didn't he testify to that?
That's what he said out of his mouth. That's his personal, emotional.
So he's lying to you, or what?
Lying about what? That's his personal, emotional feelings. He doesn't know what he would do if he found out someone else did something to his child. That's nothing to do with him.
Yeah, I'm referring specifically to the statement of that he made to you.
What
He
about-
said that, right?
He did say that.
And what was your response?
I don't know.
Well, according to his testimony, you defended him, right? You defended Keon.
All I said was
You got mad at Kadeem.
I did not get mad at Kadeem. All I said was I do not believe that Keon would ever harm my child.
And so we know that Karter had his own bedroom in your apartment, correct?
Correct.
Okay. And that there was kind of this battle between keeping him in his own bedroom.
Not a battle. He was sleep trained.
He was sleep trained,
Yes, so I was training him to sleep in his own bed.
but he would come and knock on your door or try to find you.
Obviously, he would get up in the middle of the night and try to come back and sleep in my bed. Yes.
Okay. He would. What about if you and Keon were in the bedroom with the door closed?
We wouldn't be in the bedroom with the door closed.
Well, what about, where would you guys smoke marijuana?
We did not smoke marijuana in my house. He would smoke outside or on the patio.
Is it smoke outside on the patio?
On the patio.
So you never had anything to do with any of that?
I never had anything to do with any of that.
Try to get a new phone after this?
Did I try to get a new phone?
Mm-hmm.
As in a phone number or?
A new phone, like upgrade your phone?
I believe I did upgrade my phone only because me and his father shared a phone at the time on the line, and I was returning his, and I was eligible for an upgrade, so I believe that I did upgrade or whatever.
When did you become eligible for an upgrade?
I don't know.
Does December 6, 2020 sound right?
I don't know.
Okay. Do you know how many times you checked to see if you actually qualified for an upgrade?
I would never check to see if I qualify for an upgrade. I don't know.
I got one. Right. And it's in here. This is State's Exhibit 61.
Alright.
Can you look through this form?
Sure.
You your account? And there were a lot of pages, weren't there?
They are,
Okay, what were the dates?
from November until, I believe it was January, I don't know,
So December or?
December, January, I didn't necessarily the last day.
That's quite a few pages, isn't it?
Eligibility request for upgrade on my cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Okay. A lot of them came right after this incident happened, didn't it?
Sure. But I mean, I work in tech, so we upgraded my phone, had no bearing on anything, because everything was then transferred over to my new phone.
Why did you tell Kianna to get him a breathing treatment that morning?
Because Kianna had mentioned that he didn't think that he was breathing correctly. So I immediately said, well, I asked him to lift up his shirt so that I could see if he was retracting a little bit. I did not notice him retracting, but because he stated that he thought that he was breathing oddly, I told him to give him a breathing treatment anyway.
And you knew the signs and symptoms, right?
Yes, which is why I asked him to lift up his shirt.
Right, and you didn't see anything?
No,
But you said getting the breathing treatment anyway?
correct.
You don't recall saying that Karter threw up 4 times Sunday night to Collins in your first interview?
I don't recall anything from that first interview. Again, I had just lost my child. It was a lot going on.
How many times did he tell you his stomach hurt?
I don't know.
Was it once?
He told me Sunday nights. I went to work on Monday. I never heard him say it again until I returned home and he threw up in my face. And then he said, Mommy, my stomach hurts.
Did you give him a bath after that happened, or did you give him the bath prior to being in the kitchen?
I gave him a bath when I got home because I noticed that he had juice all on his shirt.
But it wasn't juice, was it?
It was juice.
It was juice?
It was juice.
What was on the carpet?
Juice.
Juice was on the carpet?
Juice.
Okay. But you said that you kind of deduced that it was throw up at some point in your statements to law enforcement, right?
Throw up, in my mind, it is throw up, which it should contain food, some sort of consistency, chunkiness, something. This was not that. This looked like water mixed with juice.
So, then why did you tell law enforcement that you kind of figured out later, once he threw up in the kitchen, that you figured out it was throw up?
I said, because when he threw up in the kitchen, he also vomited the juice and clear fluid. So I then immediately said that must have been what I noticed on the floor when I came home from work.
You said there was something I would tell you to law enforcement once they told you about the injuries, right?
Of course.
So there's nothing.
I did not witness any type of anything, no. And there was no evidence of any bruising or anything on his body to me, nor was there any evidence of any bruising on his body to the medical staff who saw him that Tuesday morning.
But Karter didn't run to you and point at Kianna and say he hit him.
No.
And he reviewed that, right?
He never said anyone hit him, but if anyone did hit him, he would point to whoever. I would ask who did it, as I would refer to my child, and he would point and tell me who he thought would do anything.
Right, like if he got hit at daycare or something like that.
If he got hit at daycare, I wouldn't have known unless he started telling me.
But you said if anything would happen, Karter, who was a crybaby in your words, would come to you and point at what happened.
Karter's always the last one to be picked up from daycare because I am the latest parent to pick him up. So whenever I pick him up from daycare, he is typically the only child there. So there will be no one to point to.
Okay, then why did you tell police that?
What?
Why did you tell police that if someone hit Karter, that he would tell you,
Because he would.
but he didn't do that with Kianna?
So that obviously means no one hit him.
Nothing further than that.
Thank you.
I have nothing else, Connor. You can come
Step
down.
down, ma'am.
This next one, that's it.
Do you have any other evidence to present, Mr. Greer?
No, ma'am?
All right, the defense rests. Does the state have rebuttal?
No, Your Honor.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have some stuff we have to do outside your presence, and it's time for lunch. So I'm gonna give you a little longer lunch break today so that we can take care of what we need to do, get some lunch, and then we will resume at 1:45, and we'll hear the closing arguments from both sides, and then I'll give you the law that applies to this case, and then you will begin deliberation. The evidence is closed. It is still, however, improper for you to discuss this case with each other or anyone else. It will always be improper for you to do any independent research. So leave your notepads in the jury room, grab some lunch. I'll see you back at 1:45. Ready to excuse with the available. Let's get on being back at 1:15-ish to do a charge conference. I think you guys both have the version, which I've already taken some stuff out, because you didn't call some witnesses, I thought you might, and so forth. But that'll give us a starting place, and we'll do a charge conference at 1:15. Mr. Dwayne, are you going to open and close?
Probably.
Okay, so we'll do that, and then we'll do the closing arguments and charge. Okay? 1:15 for you guys, 1:45 for the jury. We'll stand in recess.